Wednesday. It's storming outside, so hopefully it's not too loud on this video. Welcome. Let's get moving. Let's find a seat. I'm just gonna sit with my booty on my heels for a moment and take a couple breaths. I'm just ending my workday, but maybe, again, you're doing this in the morning, so just taking a moment. Some neck half circles. Some rolls of the shoulders. Whatever you need to kind of settle in. Be a little bit more present in your body. Again, to tune into your breath. Inhales and exhales. Feeling free to pause the video here if you need a little bit more time to soften, settle. And then in time, making your way to hands and knees. Spreading the fingers nice and wide, hips over the knees, shoulders over the wrists. Just begin with your favorite wrist warm-up. I like to begin with those wrist strengtheners that I talk about a lot, where you lift up the hands to the first knuckle and then press them back down again. It's harder the more you lean forward. If it's too hard, you just lean back a little bit. The other wrist strengthener that I really like is to bring backs of the hands down and then lift up to the first knuckle here. This one's a little bit harder, so if it's too much pressure on the wrist, you can lean back a little bit. You can see how my hips are leaning back for this one. Then just beginning to circle over the wrists. You can switch the direction of the fingers if you like. Fingers can point back, maybe. Couple breaths here. Continuing to warm up the wrists at your own pace. Good time. Go ahead and switch the hands back around to neutral. Just begin some cat-cow, organic movement. So maybe some side to side. Maybe some neck circles. Maybe just traditional back bend and rounding. Using this as a time to really connect with your breath. Steady, even inhales and exhales. Then from here, we'll keep the right arm planted. We're going to reach the left arm up. Just some shoulder circles here, so you can reach the arm forward and around. A couple cycles that direction, and then you can reach it around back. This is too much for the shoulder. Bending the elbow always helps provide a little bit more stability. Then as you circle back around, go ahead and make a kickstand with that right foot. Come into a supported side plank. Long through the side body. Couple breaths here. Breathe into that left rib cage. And as you're ready, shift weight forward a little bit. You might want to reach that right hand forward. Go ahead and lift the leg. Let's bend the knee and reach for the foot. Take the quad stretch here. Hugging the heel towards the glute. Again, if we want more of a back bend, we switch the grip. So the thumb comes towards the big toe mound, kicking and reaching. Freedom for the neck. Couple breaths here. On an inhale, we'll release the foot, extend, and then we're going to exhale, crunch, like we're bringing elbow towards the knee. Inhale, re-extend, exhale, crunch. Two or three more, getting really long. And then feel the glute fire. I really like to flex my foot here, spread my toes so those muscles are engaging. This last one, we're going to bring the knee in, and then we're just going to extend the leg. Start to work the hip flexor here. Firm through the low belly. Couple more. And then give it a little stretch. Reach for the knee. Feeling a little stretch through the groin here. Might feel nice to roll out the ankle. Then we're going to step that leg all the way forward. Again, we can stay in this kneeling lunge, half splits, or we can tuck the back toes, more of a lizard lunge, pyramid variation. You choose. Pretty typical warm-up. It's one of my favorite poses because as we come forward, we feel that stretch in the right hip flexor, and then as we shift the weight back, we feel it more in the back of this left leg, especially through the hamstring. Can also be done with the knee down, especially if you're at home and you don't have as many props. You might need to set the knee down. So do what you need to do, several more cycles. Meet back in our lizard lunge. You can keep the back knee down or you can lift it. Right hand plants, left arm reaches up, twist. And notice how my back knee tends to kind of get low. I really want to power up that inner thigh. Maybe roll out the wrist here. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, plant the hand, open and anchor the back foot. Go ahead and come on up. Side angle. If you're in a more open body and there's space, fingertips can reach down. Otherwise, elbow can come right above the knee. Arm can reach up or hand can come to the hip. Gaze can be down, out, or up. We're going to flow this a little bit. We're going to straighten the leg, reach the arm overhead. Exhale, reach the arm back up. Again, this can either be down or up. So elbow to the leg, maybe fingertips to the ground. Really starting to warm up the hamstring, outer hips a little more. So side angle to triangle, 2 more cycles through. Then we'll cartwheel both hands down, come back to this lizard variation, press the ground away, hover the foot. If you want some more core work, knee to elbow. Maybe 5. You're feeling it, knee to nose, 5. Want some more? Knee to opposite elbow, 5. You can skip all these. We're all going to take our variation of chaturanga, come through a back bend. All right, let's soften here and just settle for a moment. Several cycles through back bend of your choice. I really like wide arm cobra. You may like a more traditional cobra. One more cycle through. Either push back up to down dog or take child's pose for a moment. Allowing yourself to settle, soften where you're at. Notice if you need a sigh or, again, long neck adjust, pedaling out the feet. Three more breaths here, feeling long through the spine, long through the legs. Then as you're ready, we'll come back to hands and knees. This time the right arm reaches up, some shoulder circles reaching forward. And then back. And eventually as you reach back, circling back, making a kickstand with that left knee reaching up and over, getting really long through the side. But as you look down, you want to make sure the shoulders either right over the wrist or a little bit behind. So getting really long. Then as you're ready, lifting that leg up. Maybe roll out the wrist and the ankle and then reach for the foot, heel towards the glute, quad stretch. You can stay here, switch the grip, thumb towards the big toe mound, kick and reach, more of a back bend, more opening in the front of the shoulder. On an inhale, go ahead and release, keep that leg lifted, exhale. Knee towards the elbow, these little crunches. Keep the foot flexed and the toes spread. About as many as you did on the first side. And then pausing again, working the hip flexors here. So bring the knee in line with the hip and then extend the leg. You finish with that, hold on to the knee, reach that leg up, maybe roll out the ankle, and then step it around and forward. Lizard lunge. Again, kneeling lizard, half splits, or tucking the back toes, lizard, pyramid variation. Again, connecting with your breath. Inhale, lengthen the front body. Exhale, breathe space into the back body. Couple more cycles through. Coming back through the middle, moving into the twisted lunge. Right arm reaches up, keeping that back inner thigh right. Couple breaths here. Soften the shoulders, bright through the crown. Inhale here, exhale. Cartwheel the arms down, open and anchor the back foot. Side angle. So again, we can be here. We can be here. If you have a block at home, you can have the block there as well. Arm reaches up, shoulders stacked. So better to be here than trying to be all hunched over down low. And then again, flowing. Triangle, back to side angle. Several cycles through. Gaze can be down, out, or up, just connecting with your breath. Cartwheel those arms down, back to that lizard lunge, press the ground away, hover the foot. Up to 5 of these little knee to elbow. If you're still with me, knee to nose or knee to chest. And then lastly, if you're still with me, knee to opposite elbow. Eventually taking a flow. Giving yourself permission to pause. Take a child's pose. Add on some extra push-ups. Whatever you need. Eventually we'll meet back, downward facing dog. Keep going and building more space. Option just to hold down dog. That's a great way. A lot of times we forget downward facing dog is an inversion. The head's below the heart here, so we can let the head be heavy, hang out here. We can also drop the forearms, come to dolphin pose. If we want more movement, we can do dolphin push-ups. Drop the elbows, press back up. So your choice. You know your limits, 5 push-ups, 10 push-ups. The push-ups can also be one forearm at a time and then lift. So they don't have to be both at the same time. Then as you finish, let's all drop the knees down, kneeling or child's pose. Take a moment here. Roll out the shoulders. Roll out the neck. The wrists are talking to you, roll out the wrists, give them a little love, or you can press backs of the hands together. Give them a little shake. Let's come back to down dog. We're going to keep moving. We're warmer now. We can start moving through some more active part of our flow here. Let's lift the left leg, 3-legged dog. Let's bend the knee, open up the hip. Roll out the ankle. Might feel nice to straighten the leg or maybe let gravity do its thing. Maybe you need a couple hip circles here. You choose. Inhale here in this open hip position. Exhale, bring the knee forward, knee towards the chest, maybe knee to nose, gaze forward. Let's set the foot down. Let's rise to a lunge. We're going to flow a little bit. Arms can be wide or cactus. We're going to exhale, hinge forward and reach back. Inhale, open up. Lengthen, exhale, hinge. If this is too much, hands can always stay on the thigh and just the torso moves. Do 2 more. Next time we're down, let's plant the hands. Let's take a little step in with the back foot, come more to a pyramid stance. Really trying to get the hips towards even, so we have to draw this left hip point back. Draw that left leg up into the hip socket. It's okay if this knee's bent a little bit. It's also okay if you're up on blocks or up on the shin. From here, we're really going to work the glutes and the outer hips. I'm going to take a step back so you can see better. We're going to power ourselves up. So 3-point stance. And then from here, just like we did in our supported side plank, we're going to come up to half moon. This may be plenty. Staying right here. If you want more, bend the knee, reach for the foot, sugar cane pose. You can also switch the grip, really go for the back bend here. We're all going to re-extend back into half moon. We're going to challenge our balance, really firm up this outer hip and crunch, knee towards the elbow. Maybe just 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4 or 5. Again, you're the boss. Then after you finish those, we're going to flex the foot, knee towards the hip, and then extend that leg out. I'm not sure how well you can see from this angle, so if you can't see, we'll have to wait till the other side, I guess. This is the challenge of me not being a video expert. From here, we'll stay in this open hip position. Then we're going to tap the leg down, almost like we're going to bring it towards the opposite elbow. This is the beginning of a shrimp squat. It's called. Really lots of outer hip work. So inhale, open hip. Exhale, knee towards the ankle. That's about as far down as I can go. Some people can go down all the way. You might have to set the knee down to do it. That's okay too. Again, maybe 3 to 5. Ooh, this is a lot of outer hip work. And then as you finish, stepping it back. Ooh, a flow to reset. Again, you're feeling feisty, some extra push-ups. You're feeling like you need more rest, a little bit longer pause on the belly, or taking a moment in child's pose. So a lot of bad things about yoga videos, but one of the nice ones is if I'm moving too fast or something doesn't make sense, you can pause, watch it again, or pause, take your own time. Couple breaths here. If you're in child's pose, eventually making your way to down dog. Do that same series on the other side. Right leg lifts, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Again, press the ground away. You can roll out the ankle. You can just let gravity do its thing here. You can make some hip circles. You can straighten that lifted leg. All sorts of variations. Trusting your practice here. Just remember to keep breathing. Big inhale here. Exhale. Knee towards the shoulder. Bring it towards the chest, towards the nose. Press the ground away. And then step the foot down. From here, we'll inhale to rise, lengthen the front body. Exhale, hinge forward. Your pace of breath. Should have said this on the other side, but that back knee can always set down if you need it to. You can also lessen the work for the arms by bringing hands to the thighs. The last one. Plant the hands. I'm going to scooch back a little bit, lifting. Oh, I forgot pyramid pose. So back leg opens and anchors on that 45-degree angle. We hinge forward, trying to draw the hips towards even. So this time, you can see how my right hip kind of gets cockeyed. I have to kind of draw it back, even taking my thumb to that hip crease, and then folding over. Pressing through that right big toe mound. Energy drawing up and in, drawing that leg up into the hip socket. Inhale to lengthen. Let's come on forward. Pause for a moment, 3-point stance. If and as you're ready, opening up half moon. Work on stacking the hips. Hand can stay at the hip. Gazing down here will help quite a bit. You can extend the arm up, maybe overhead. Maybe bend the knee, reach for the foot. Again, these are all options. If you get the foot pretty easily and you want to take the back bend, kicking and reaching, you can. And then we'll start this little flow together, again, extending little crunches. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. 1, 2, maybe 5. Move at your own pace. Know that we have those kicks next, so the knee and hip in line, and then we just extend out. Again, open up in the open hip position here. We're going to plant the hands and then little shrimp squat. So I'm going to drop that lifted knee towards the back of the ankle, and then I'm going to open back up. Exhale to drop. Again, you can set that back knee down to feel it if you need to. Making sure we don't want the knee way, way forward, so we want the knee to stay stacked over the ankle, so we have to really shift the weight back here. You'll really feel it in the outer hip. Ooh, and then you finish up, step back, plank, take your flow. No flow is okay too. And then giving yourself a moment, downward facing dog, child's pose. We'll reset for a moment here. This would be a great place in the practice in which you could invert a little bit. The body's nice and warm. So again, coming back to that dolphin, maybe doing a handstand. Any of those would be great options. We'll have an option here pretty soon to headstand. So if you don't want forearm stand or handstand, I would just invite you, again, to come towards the wall or just come down into dolphin. One thing I've been really working on is just my dolphin hold. And as I work towards forearm stand, I press the ground away here, and then as I come forward, I bring the gaze forward. So it's opening in the upper back that I can practice bringing the gaze forward. You can practice walking the feet in, lifting one leg, lifting the other. So you're welcome to find a wall. I'm just going to hang out here in my dolphin for 10 breaths. So handstand, dolphin, forearm stand. I have 5 more breaths left if you're in a dolphin hold with me. If you're doing your own thing, awesome. If you're resting, even better. And then giving yourself a moment. Child's pose, maybe kneeling. If you need more time, pause the video, take more time. Okay, we're going to do a little standing work. So we'll go ahead and come to downward facing dog. You can tiptoe or you can hop or step to the front of your mat. Inhale to a little half lift. Exhale to fold and then slowly come all the way up. I'm going to turn to face the camera. I know you can't see my face here, but I want you to see one of the things I've been doing during the COVID pandemic is doing some gymnastics conditioning with my daughter. And one of the things they do to warm up is really great work for both the front of our legs, the groin, the outer hip. And so for our standing work today, hands can come to the hip or arms come out to the side, and we're just going to lift the leg. In gymnastics, they do 10 on each side. I think 5 is good. We're going to lift the leg out to the side. If you notice that's too much strain on the hip flexor, you can bend the knee. Again, if arms out to the side is too much, So 3 to 5, and then we're going to extend the leg behind us. Really feel the glutes fire here. And then pause for a moment. Might feel good to roll out the ankles. Then we'll do the same thing on the other side. These lifts, slow and steady, belly firm, spine nice and tall. Again, externally rotate, bring it out to the side. You can also bend the knee if it's too much for the hip flexors. And then behind, engage the glutes. Ooh, okay, taking a moment there, roll out the ankles. One more little standing sequence. We're going to shift weight to the left foot. We're going to hug the right knee in this time. I know half of my body's cut off, so just stay with me again like we would flex the foot. And from here, we'll bring that leg out to the side. We're going to reach for the foot. Take the quad stretch. Release the foot. Bring it back around with a bent knee. And then option to do that a couple more times through. Let me see if I turn to the side, you can see it a little better. Hug the knee in, out to the side. Good hip mobility work. Release the foot. Bring the knee out to the side again and hug it in. Or if you want more difficulty, you're going to hug that leg in. You're going to extend it out, and then you're going to rotate. Leg out to the side. Warrior 3. If you want dancer, you could take it here. Extend back out, bend the knee or try to keep it straight. You can see this is challenging. Ooh, on the balance. Come back around. Legs straight or bent. Warrior 3. Maybe dancer. Maybe extend back out, bring it back around. Ooh, and then take a moment. Roll out the ankles. Do the same thing on the other side. Shift weight into the right foot. We'll hug that left knee in. Again, if you need to move towards a wall, feel free. Then bring it out to the side. Then bend the knee, reach for the foot, quad stretch, knee points down. Release the foot, bring the knee back out to the side. Bring it back around, hug it in. And then again, you can do it with bent leg again or straight leg. Leg out to the side, hip mobility. Whoo, lots of work. Warrior 3. Maybe bend the knee. Kick and reach dancer. Release. Again, leg can be straight. Whoo, lots of outer hip work. You can always use your other hand on the wall. Or again, you can keep the leg bent the whole time. And then extend out, Warrior 3. Your variation. Take your time. We'll meet in a forward fold as you finish that up. And then in time we'll come to a malasana. Again, it can be a malasana with lots of movement or some stillness. Okay, yogis, I have one more little flow for you. It's a doozy. So the good news is at home you can skip or you can pause the video and practice. We'll just see how it goes. The body's well prepared, so we'll make our way downward facing dog. You can watch the first time if you like since we're on video. Otherwise, you can do it with me. We're going to lift the left leg. We've done something similar. We're just kind of adding on here. You know, if you've been to my class, I joke this is the finale. This is definitely our finale here. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Inhale here. Exhale, knee rides forward like a wave. We set it down. We're going to open and anchor the back foot. we're going to come to triangle pose. So we may be lifted in our triangle. There may be enough space that our fingertips touch the ground. And then from here, we're going to transition from triangle to side plank to wild thing, okay? Sounds crazier than it actually is. We're going to inhale here. We're going to exhale, cartwheel that right arm down. We're going to pivot onto the back foot. Reach this right arm more forward than you would think. Reach for the big toe, okay? It can be here, so you can reach this leg up. You can send it back, wild thing. From there, again, you can reach for the foot or for the knee, step it around, tuck the back toes, triangle pose, okay? That's lots of work on its own. If you want to go for the full variation, cartwheel the arm, reach more forward than you think, reach for the big toe, open and anchor the back foot. Side plank, eventually keep the hips high, reach back, wild thing. Bring the gaze back down, bring the knee up. Again, we can reach for the knee here. You can always reach for the toes too. I find that a little bit harder. Then we're going to bring it around. Open and anchor the back foot, triangle pose. Okay, maybe one more cycle through at your own pace. Cartwheel the arm down, back knee down or lifted. Reach for the big toe. Keep the hips lifted, keep the hips lifted. Step back, wild thing. Bring the gaze down, roll onto the outer edge of that back foot. Maybe reach for the knee. Maybe extend out. And then slowly, slowly step forward. Open and anchor the back foot, triangle pose. Woo. Cartwheel the hands, step back. Take a flow, you can skip a flow. And then give yourself a moment before we do the other side. Reconnecting with your breath. Speaking kindly to yourself. Then we're going to go ahead and do the other side, knowing if that was confusing. You can always rewind it and watch it again. Join me as you're ready. Downward facing dog. Right leg lifts, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Couple breaths here. Press the ground away. Inhale in this open hip position. Exhale. Knee forward. Set the foot down. Open and anchor the back foot. We're coming to triangle pose on the other side. So it's less important that I'm touching the ground, and it's more important that you see this nice triangle here. The nice triangle, the ground between my two legs. So we're trying to make all these shapes. My shoulders are stacked, both sides of my torso engaged. That ear's not dropping, so my crown is bright. And again, just like I showed you on the other side, we'll show the modified version first, which is plenty challenging. We'll inhale here, exhale, cartwheel the arm down. When we cartwheel the arm down, we can set that back knee down. We can reach for the big toe. We can make a kickstand, come here, slowly, gently release. Baby wild thing, feel the back bend. You can use the hand to support the head if that feels nice. Strong through the core to come back up. We can reach for that knee or extend out leg, bent or straight. Tuck the back toes. Open and anchor, back to triangle pose. Couple more cycles through at your own pace of breath. If you're coming with me for the full variation, inhale here. Exhale, reach the left arm forward more than you would think you need to. Come onto the ball of the back foot. Reach for the big toe. Lift up, lift up, lift up. Hips lift high. When it's time, release. Wild thing. Bring the gaze down, roll onto the outer edge of that left foot, keep it firm. Maybe reach for the knee. Maybe straighten the leg, bring it around, open and anchor the back foot, triangle pose. Take a moment to reset. If you want to give it a go one more time, have at it. As the moment passes, let it pass, step it back, take a flow or no flow. Giving yourself a moment. In the spirit of not being able to be together in the yoga studio, surprise, surprise, we're going to do my favorite little flow. Then we'll do just a little bit of core work, one more back bend, and we'll begin to close the practice. So come to the middle of your mat. If you're in a small space like I am, it's even more important where you're at. And let's come to this little squat. As you're ready, slow and steady, we're going to drop the knees. Hips over the knees, toes tucked or untucked. Press the hips forward. Little camel or Ustrasana pose. Elbows draw back, send the chest and heart through. When it's time to come out, belly, belly, belly through the core. Tuck the toes. Woo. Squat. Again, as you're ready, let the knees come out wide, heels towards the ground. Malasana is a really great ankle, low calf stretch. Allow yourself to come back. I'm awfully close to this table here, boat or low boat. And then again, rocking forward, coming back to the squat. Couple breaths in camel prep. Keep squeezing the inner thighs together. Keep the hips pressing forward. If you're not sure that's happening, it can be wise to either squeeze a block or a book between the legs or to move your pelvis towards the wall. Again, boat or low boat here. If you want more work, arms can reach overhead. And then coming back up. Couple more cycles through at your own pace. Again, knowing if you need more time, you want to do this longer, you can always pause the video. So for the sake of time, if you want to do more, go ahead and pause the video and then restart when you come down onto your back. We're going to do just a little bit more core work. We're going to bring the legs up, stack them over, knees over the hips. Might feel nice just to roll out the ankles here. And then we're going to reach the arms up. So working the upper abs like we could touch the toes. Keep breathing. I usually do 10 to 20. That's totally up to you. like to pause for a minute. Shift the knees side to side, almost like you're turning a steering wheel. Can kind of reset the pelvis. Feels nice on the low back. Bring the legs back up, arms by the side. We're just little movements, like you could press the bottoms of your feet up onto the ceiling. I like to kind of put my hand on my low belly here. We should really feel the low abs working. Again, 10 to 20. Finish up. Little shimmy of the hips back and forth. We'll rock up. Come to the center of your mat, boat pose. This is in honor of my teacher Liz. To work the obliques, we did something called the cosmic bicycle. It's almost like you're riding a bike in space, knee towards the chest. If you do this, you can really feel those obliques working. So several breaths here. Slow and steady. Keep breathing. Couple more breaths. And allow yourself to be down. Pause for a moment, constructive rest. Let's let the knees bow together. If it feels better to let them come out to the side, that's okay too. Back of the head, shoulder blades, low back connected to the mat. An option to stay right here in supported rest. You can also prop yourself up like we would in class with a block, maybe a pillow at home, maybe a couple pillows, and take supported bridge pose here. If you want a more active back bend, again, fingers, middle finger should be able to touch the heel, inner thighs draw towards one another, knees over the ankles, gazes up, space between the chin and the chest, and lift up. You can roll one shoulder under, then the other, so the backs of the arms support the weight here. Breathe into the belly. If wheel's part of your practice, now would be a great time to transition into wheel. Again, 5 breaths wherever you're at. When it's time to come out, allow yourself a moment back to constructive rest. Go ahead and let knees come to one side, roll to one side. We're going to have the opportunity to take a headstand here. If you would prefer to just do legs up the wall, that would be great too. Actually, in traditional yoga practices, headstand is usually done at the end of a practice because it's a more cooling posture, and we want to kind of soothe and cool down after all that work. So headstand or legs up the wall. I'm going to give us just a couple minutes here. So give yourself time to find a wall if you need it.
you're taking headstand, try to find, sounds kind of ironic to find peace upside down, but try to allow the breathing to slow. You're still upside down. 5 or so slow more breaths. If you've already come down, remember child's pose. And then I like down dog after to kind of release any tension you put on the neck. Again, ideally most of the weight's in the shoulders and the forearms here. Making your way down if you haven't already, child's pose. Down dog if you haven't already. Really soften the edges of the neck, shake the head, yes or no. Getting linked back through the cervical spine. Setting the knees down, rolling back onto the belly. So if you took supported bridge before, now would be a good time to move into legs up the wall. If you took an active back bend before and you want a supported back bend now would be a really great time. See, I don't have as much support as I would in the studio, but we're doing the best we can for a supported bridge pose. If you're ready, lifting the hips just enough to remove any support you had underneath of you. If you're in legs up the wall, you can stay there. You might want to take a little spinal twist. You can do that in legs up the wall just by kind of moving yourself just slightly away from the wall. For me, after all that hip work, inner hip, outer hip, having nice wide knees and then dropping them to the side really feels good on the inner and the outer hips. If you have a different spinal twist you prefer,